Hello, back to Zecher Bereshis. We started last week on snakes, and this week is even more of a great reason to do snakes because in this week's parsha, chukat, so we see towards the end of the parsha that the Bnei Israel complained against Hashem, against Moshe Rabbeinu, and Hashem sent poisonous snakes to bite them and wake them up. And they did. They immediately ran to Moshe Rabbeinu and asked him to daven for them, that the snakes should stop biting them, and Moshe Rabbeinu davened, and right away the snakes stopped. Anyway, let's go back to our snakes. The design of a snake's body shows Hashem's chokhmah and His power. I mean, you see they're all long and narrow. So that means every part of their body inside, all the organs have to be the same in order to fit. So Hashem, in His wisdom and His power, His great power, He makes organs that don't have to be round. He made them all long. So that's what they are. The backbone extends along the whole body with hundreds of ribs joined to it. The heart is long, the liver is very long and thin. The right lung is very long and does the work of two lungs. The kidneys are long and thin, and the stomach and the intestines are all stretchable so that they can hold large meals. When a snake swallows big prey, it has the ability to push the opening of the windpipe up from the floor of the mouth in order to keep breathing. Now, snakes move very slowly, or pretty slowly, and they can't cover that much ground to chase down prey. So they don't get the chance to catch food very often. So Hashem made it that they don't have to eat very often. It's an amazing thing. Now, we have to eat at least a couple of times a day. Once or twice a day we get to eat. Snakes can go months without eating a meal. And then Hashem will cause something to stumble near them, and they'll catch it and they'll eat it up, and it'll be big enough to last them for 2 or 3 months. It's the power of Hashem that gave them that ability. Now, some snakes eat a very varied diet. They eat all types of things. There are some snakes that eat like one thing, very, very specialized. There's a snake called a tentacle snake. It lives on fish, and it hides among plants in the water, and it catches fish, it grabs fish as they swim past them. We have a few pictures here. The top pictures are water snakes. Actually, there's one on your left, it'll be, I guess, is a mud snake, but the rest of them are water snakes on the top. The bottom, there's a gopher snake, which is very common out west in America, in rocky places, and you see them crawling over a rock. And the other one next to it is called the African house snake. And you see him eating I don't know what it is, it's either a rat or a mouse. So I'm sure the people who live around there like these snakes because they eat up their mice and rats. Some snakes, as you'll see a picture soon, eat other snakes. And it's actually easier for them because it's the same shape of their body. So it just goes down very smoothly. They don't have to do much to get to swallow it. Whereas some of the big things they eat, it takes them a long time to get it down. There are rat snakes that will climb up trees. They'll slither up trees, I guess you could say, in search of baby birds or eggs or squirrels. There's a snake called the African egg eater, and as you can tell, it eats only eggs, or basically only eggs. And what they'll do is, before they eat the egg, they'll stick their tongue onto the egg, and they'll be able to tell if it's a fresh egg. Now, if it is a fresh egg, then they'll eat it. They'll swallow the whole egg whole, and Hashem gave them pointed ends of their bones inside their body, by their ribs, and that will crack the eggshell. And then it eats up all the egg, what's inside the egg, and then it's able to spit out the crushed shell. It coughs it out. Sometimes a snake will cough out its prey alive. I don't know exactly why they would do that, but now also Hashem gave them, they have a lot of slimy saliva that's very slippery that helps make the food slide down their throat easier. They always try to swallow their prey head first so that the things that are sticking out, like the legs or wings or the scales, don't get caught in their throat. And digestion of what they eat can take days, sometimes even weeks. So they just usually they will lay down under a bush in hiding and just sit there for weeks at a time until they finally digest all whatever they ate. Now, when the prey, what they catch to eat, is really large in relation to the size of the snake's head, the snake is able to stretch the meal itself into a more thin shape, elongated shape to fit through its body. And some snakes, especially the big pythons, they eat really big prey when they can, and then they will lie there for weeks at a time and digest them. There are 3 pictures on this page. The top one is a smooth snake, is called, eating a poisonous snake called an asp viper. And it just fits in very, very easily into its mouth, as you see. On the bottom, there's what's called the Australian, I should say, death adder snake. It has a colorful tip of its tail. It looks something like a worm. And this snake will actually wiggle that end of its tail, that looks like a worm, to lure prey that want to eat that quote-unquote worm, which is really the tip of its tail, and then it'll eat that animal that comes too close. And next to it is a picture of another death adder that shows how great the camouflage is Hashem gave it among leaves. Okay, now a cottonmouth moccasin snake, they live in Florida by the way, 14 inches long, ate a 29-inch long ribbon snake. You're probably wondering how he did that. He folded the snake in half and then he ate it. A 38-inch long king snake swallowed a 40-inch long corn snake, and it took him 5 hours to get it down. An African rock python, 16 feet long, was found with a reedbuck antelope inside its belly, weighing 60 pounds. An Indian python, 18 feet long, contained a barking deer, the whole deer, together with its horns, and the horns were almost a foot long. We're still trying to figure out how that happened. Why didn't the horns poke right through its stomach or intestines or whatever and kill the snake? I don't know. A large African rock python grabbed 3 jackals. They're the size of whatever, good medium-sized dogs, and killed them all at the same time, squeezing them all at the same time, and then they ate 1 jackal at a time after they killed them, all 3 at one time. But sometimes even the big snakes die instead of the prey. A couple of cases are known where Asian tigers ate these big Indian pythons. A 10-foot crocodile had inside its body a pretty big African rock python. An opossum got a good bite on a large boa constrictor that was trying to kill it, and he killed the snake. He severed the boa constrictor's, what do you call it? Spinal cord, killing it. Another python, an Indian python, died. He swallowed a porcupine, and the quills stuck out between its ribs, killing it. Here's some pictures. The top picture is an American racer snake eating a large toad. It doesn't look like it's going to be able to get it down its throat, but I assume it did. The next picture shows a snake with its mouth wide open, and that shows the breathing tube. There's a little tube there, and you see it's able to move it up and down to get air to breathe when it's swallowing very large prey. The next picture shows a gigantic rock python squeezing a crocodile to death. I don't know how it would swallow this crocodile, but that's his problem. The bottom picture is a poisonous snake called a fer-de-lance, and it's a large pit viper, and he is swallowing some kind of mammal, very furry mammal. I can't tell what it is. Okay, now even though we're right in the middle of our snakes, we're going to just do one page of, in honor of the Blumenthal buying a pet turtle, we're going to do a little bit of turtles. I'm going to skip ahead to turtles. Now this picture is a wood turtle. That's an American turtle. They're very common in the Northeast, in New York and places like that. And you'll notice look at the thick legs to hold up the heavy weight of that body and the heavy shell, and the sharp beak in its mouth and claws for getting food. There are about 300 species of turtles, and their scientific name is chelonians. I'm not going to use that name again, but there are some books, they only call them chelonians instead of turtles. There are freshwater turtles. In Britain, they call them terrapins. And there are also tortoises, which are land turtles. And there are sea turtles. We're not going to talk about sea turtles. I'm going to save that for when we talk about fish. The main feature of a turtle, of course, is its strong shell, surrounding the entire body for protection from predators. And their flexible neck muscles and their loose skin allow them to pull the whole neck inside the shell at times of danger. And the front and back legs are also pulled in, so that it blocks all the space between the upper shell, called the carapace, and the flat bottom shell, called the plastron. So an attacker has no way of reaching its vulnerable soft organs inside. Basically, the turtle is one big fortress of bone, with hard, scaly front and back doors. I'm going to show you a picture. Look at the top pictures. See, this is, let's look at the turtle this is, I forgot already. I guess it's also a box turtle, or a wood turtle. Okay, have a good Shabbos.